LeBrun and Frank Seravalli back with another edition here of Insider Trading. So much to discuss, and we talked about the Toronto Maple Leafs and the interest that the Maple Leafs have in veteran forward Wayne Simmonds. Shifting over to another Canadian team, I want to take a closer look at the Winnipeg Jets. There's been so much speculation in the media around Patrik Laine and the possibility that Laine could be traded. Well, this is that old philosophy and scenario of you have to be willing to part with quality to get quality in return. But I think everybody needs to be mindful of the fact here, the Winnipeg Jets aren't selling assets. They are trying to plug holes. They need a number 2 center. They need help in their top 4 on their blue line. So Laine's name most definitely has been out there, but there have been other Winnipeg Jets players that Kevin Cheveldayoff has had trade discussions on as well. So guys, Winnipeg is one of those teams that we're going to have to keep a close eye on, I would say, not only today, but in the days ahead.
Yeah, and Dregs, I would believe that the Philadelphia Flyers are the team that has been most engaged to this point with the Winnipeg Jets on a potential Patrik Laine trade. And perhaps one of the things that the Flyers were willing to offer in that deal, which has cooled to this point, was a defenseman to try and plug one of those holes for the Winnipeg Jets. And so now you're seeing the news yesterday of Matt Niskanen and his surprise retirement. And you're saying, well, does that put this potential deal on hold? And we're told not necessarily. The Flyers had known for more than a month that Niskanen was contemplating retirement, so they knew going into those talks with the Winnipeg Jets that their defense certainly would look different for next season. And by the way, if you're wondering, with the Flyers and losing Matt Niskanen's $5.75 million cap hit, you're saying, what are they going to be getting into next? Well, don't look for that as a signal that they're going to be in the Alex Pietrangelo sweepstakes. We're told that the Flyers do not have any interest in paying Alex Pietrangelo if he hits the market on a long-term deal.
You know, speaking of free agents, meanwhile, while Taylor Hall is certainly number 1 among forwards on Frank Seravalli's free agent frenzy board, as a factual matter, the guy who actually has the most goals among free agent forwards is Mike Hoffman of the Florida Panthers. Now, it does appear that he is headed to market as we speak. But what I did hear is that new GM Bill Zito in Florida let Mike Hoffman's camp know this week that if they can move money in a trade this week, there's another team trying to move money, that they would circle back and perhaps make an offer to Hoffman before Friday's market. But things are getting pretty tight. Sure looks to me like he's headed to market. And I do think that some of the teams that try on Taylor Hall and strike out will then circle back and try on Mike Hoffman if he is indeed on the market come Friday.
We reported on Monday that Bill Armstrong of the Arizona Coyotes was in fact shopping the rights to Taylor Hall. He sent an email, some sort of communication to all NHL general managers expressing that Taylor Hall's rights are available. It didn't sound, as of last night, like there was a terrific level of interest. That's not to say that there won't be interest. Of course, there'll be plenty of interest on Friday when free agency opens to a point. And guys, we may not like this because it's going to potentially impact our weekends, but Hall is going to take his time through this process. And based on the level of interest that is expected in Taylor Hall and, you know, again, how you have to go through things virtually now in today's world, he'll have a number of Zoom presentations that will be lined up for Friday and more on Saturday. So Taylor Hall may not make his decision on where his next address is until Saturday or perhaps as late as Sunday.
So what would the Arizona Coyotes get in return for Taylor Hall's rights? A draft pick. And that's certainly going to be a theme for new GM Bill Armstrong, as he'd like to try and recoup, if possible, a first and or second round pick that the Arizona Coyotes lost in their draft testing penalty from the National Hockey League, whether that comes in the Oliver Ekman-Larsson trade or in a Taylor Hall trade or something moving forward here that the Arizona Coyotes are looking at. Darcy Kemper in net. That would be a theme and something to watch as we head into draft night. And speaking of draft night and the number 1 overall pick, we've heard lots of rumors, lots of talk about what will the New York Rangers do with that number 1 pick. Are the Los Angeles Kings, for instance, interested in potentially making a move to get to that number 1 pick, swap number 1 and 2? We're told that the New York Rangers have no intention of doing that. And so Who will they pick tonight? It certainly seems to be Alexis Lafreniere, but that's what makes draft night so fun, guys.
And quickly, speaking of the Rangers, Frank, we know that they parted ways with future Hall of Fame netminder HenrikLundqvist, who then on Sunday on Twitter announced that he still wants to play. Now, the question is where? And the Washington Capitals have absolutely surfaced as a strong possibility for HenrikLundqvist. I think he wants to stay east, perhaps stay near New York. It's a contending team. Now, there will be other offers. Others wondering if Vegas would be a fit with Robin Lehner once they move Marc-Andre Fleury. But all things being equal, I think Washington makes a ton of sense.
Well, the goaltending carousel is definitely a main storyline for all of us. It is Insider Trading on tsn.ca.